What should you play? Where Winds Meet or Sword of Justice? When two games of similar genres are scheduled to release within proximity of one another, in this instance, two Chinese fantasy games, which is already uncommon enough in the West, you're going to be left with a tough choice. Which one should I play? Our time is finite and the investment necessary for a game of this magnitude is significant. The two Chinese epics that I am discussing is Sword of Justice, which is Sancha, and Where Winds Meet, which is Wuxia. Both of these do fall under the Wuxia umbrella, as Sancha is a Wuxia subgenre. However, if you find that you like both, well then, I'm sure you'll find the time. The Wuxia epics Sword of Justice and Where Winds Meet are hurtling towards us like rival swordsmen locked in a deadly duel thanks to NetEase, the publisher, choosing to release both games literally 1 week apart. Sword of Justice drops November 7th, while Where Winds Meet flies in November 14th. As a wandering martial artist in the digital realm, you'll need to pick your path, or maybe you'll challenge yourself and opt for both. Which legend will etch its name into your soul? Will it deliver the heart-pounding combat and intricate swordplay your spirit craves? Is one a flawless jade blade while the other hides a poisoned edge behind paywalls? And what forbidden scrolls of content lies within each? Fear not, I might have the answers for you. I've traversed these misty peaks myself. I've spilled sweat and chi through grueling hours in the recent Sword of Justice beta, and for the Where Winds Meet, I've logged hundreds of hours through several betas. From bamboo forests alive with ambushes to intense fights where one false step means oblivion. Armed with scars, triumphs, and a mind sharpened like a sword, I'll unveil the truths to guide your hand. Ready to choose your destiny? Let's draw steel. Or in this case, get answers for hopefully all your questions and perhaps pick up a couple tips and tricks along the way. So strap in. To start, let's begin with the basics. Which platform will the games be launching on? Sword of Justice, published by NetEase and developed by Zhurong Studios, will be launching onto PC and mobile devices, whereas Where Winds Meet, published by NetEase and developed by Everstone Studio, will be coming to PC, PS5, and mobile devices most likely a few weeks after release in the West if it follows China's release timelines. A quick rewind for context, Sword of Justice traces its roots to Justice Online, which dropped in China back in 2018. Think dusty ancient scrolls in much simpler times. It was a massive hit, originally teased for a Western release that never materialized. Fast forward, a mobile version emerged, evolving into what we now know as Sword of Justice in 2023. This reimagined version not only outshone its predecessor in China, but also flexed cutting-edge AI powered by ChatGPT and text-to-speech to deepen NPC interactions, making every conversation feel alive. On the other hand, Where Winds Meet is the younger cousin, launching in China in 2024 on PC with a mobile version hot on its heels just weeks later. It's been soaking up the praise and is now poised to conquer the West on PC, PS5, and mobile. Like Sword of Justice, it weaves AI into its world, letting you forge allies or rivalries with NPCs, adding a dynamic twist to your journey. Both games are ready to bring their takes on immersive worlds to global audiences. Get ready for some serious action. With that out of the way, let's talk about what truly defines each game. The here and now. Starting with the all-important character creation, because we know you'll spend more time here than in any boss fight in both games. Both Sword and Justice and Where Winds Meet let you sculpt stunning male and female characters, but each brings its own flair and a few quirks to the table. In Sword of Justice, you'll be handed the keys to a customization playground. We're talking intricate facial tweaks and full-on body sculpting. Prepare to lose hours perfecting that jawline or those biceps. But here's the catch. Some classes are gender locked. Yep, it's like stubbing your toe on the furniture of freedom. A painful limit that stings for those who want full creative control. Small tip though, when you're creating your character for Sword of Justice, if you choose to train in secret in a tutorial, you'll get a hidden hairstyle. You're welcome. Where Winds Meet counters with its own spin, offering deep facial customization split into two styles, elegant and realistic. It's a nice touch, letting you craft a graceful hero or a gritty warrior. The downside? No body customization. You're stuck with the default physique, which Might feel a little bit like ordering a custom pizza but getting a preset crust. Hair tip for this one as well. There is a house to go to every day and unlock a free hairstyle if you interact with Mirror. Both games though have a cool trick up their sleeve. You can borrow other players' uploaded designs or use a photo-generated tool to transform a selfie or your favorite anime waifu or even a celebrity crush into your in-game avatar. It's like bring your dream character to life, lopsided noses, sparkles, and freckles and all. Now that you're going to look fly in either game, we need to talk about classes. Sword of Justice has a total of 6 playable classes as of current, each wielding their own weapons that are unique to their specific class. The weapons included are blades, gauntlets, spears, zither and sword, combo, ribbons, and finally toxlings. Obviously, some of these weapons fall more towards Sancha style instead of wuxia. And honestly, I call this game more Sancha, but NetEase themselves have opted to refer to it as wuxia in their own articles about the game, so yeah. These weapons cannot be changed once you pick your class, but you can have alt characters, so you can just swap to those and play. The skills you have equipped for the weapon can be changed around between 10 options, with 5 of them being usable. 3 additional skills come into play from attaining powers from various heroes, which we'll touch more on here later. Where Winds Meet gives you more freedom like a typical wuxia game, allowing you to enter the game with a sword and unlock any weapon for your character that you would like by playing the game. You can equip a total of 3 weapons at a time, the bow being a permanent 3rd weapon space choice. But there's the fan, sword, spear, dual swords, rope dart, glaives, umbrellas, and up to 40 martial arts that can be learned, and 8 of them can be equipped at a time once you unlock all 8 slots through playing the game. Weapons are one thing, but what really matters is the combat. Everyone has their own taste on how they'd like to fight, and both games have very different combat. In both games, and I'm going to clear this up so everyone hears this because I've heard the confusion online. There is no autoplay in either game, okay? That's really cool. No autoplay. However, Sword of Justice does have auto combos, much like having macros, allowing you to hit one button and cycle through combos in succession. This is only recommended for low tier grinding. I would not recommend it for dungeons or raids. It didn't work for me as a healer. Maybe it works for DPS better, but it did not work for me as a healer at all. Sword of Justice gives us a nice hybrid combat that still keeps you on your toes, allowing you to use skills at random and aim them, and also tab through various enemies and allies. You will need to dodge various attacks as well. Some classes can also move between several stances. For example, my Sylph, which was the healer, could move between healer stance or DPS stance, or other classes can move between like tank and DPS stance. This cannot be changed in the middle of combat. I tried, it was like no, so I don't know. Something I did appreciate about Sword of Justice is they also utilize elemental reactions. Now I know a lot of you people just got really excited because there's something about elemental reactions. You guys are just like, oh baby, bring it. So, you know, the example here is like wind and water. It creates a wind that creates a wave that produces water and wind damage at the same time. Your fire attacks also set the world around you on fire and does damage to you and enemies, and leaves a long-lasting scar on the area that burned. If you use ice skills, you can use that to even freeze water to go walk on it. I thought that was pretty darn cool. Where Winds Meet offers a combat that is pure action, allowing you to dodge, parry, and block. Where Winds Meet has various difficulty modes if you're in single player mode, and it can allow you to have parry and block assist turned on. This can be turned off and will automatically be turned off in co-op or any multiplayer areas such as dungeons, PvP, and raids. You can swap between healer, DPS, or tank just based on the weapon you have equipped, and everyone can equip any weapon that you have unlocked. However, it is wise to choose 2 to focus on, as resources are limited when leveling. I would just, you know, 3 max to kind of focus on. Then when you start reaching end game, you can branch out. For example, in a dungeon, I would swap to my umbrella during combat and do DPS, then swap to my fan to heal when it was needed, all in one fight. This allowed me to be second top DPS and top healer in one of the dungeons. As you're fighting your way through the world, you'll probably want to know what the world is like and how you'll move through it. Both games advertise themselves as open world, but that's not quite right. Sword of Justice is currently being advertised as an open world MMO, and the MMO portion is highly correct. However, it's actually a segregated world, kind of like Final Fantasy XIV. You'll go into load screens to move between areas, which are largish, granted, but it isn't a seamless, accessible, and traversable world. You'll move around the world by flying with stamina loss, teleports, swimming, surfing on water, mounts, and running. Where Winds Meet, on the other hand, does come closer to an open world than Sword of Justice. You'll spend hours wandering around the first main map, whereas Sword of Justice, it'll take you perhaps like half an hour or less for an area if you're stopping and interacting with everything. I'd say Where Winds Meet is closer to WoW open world, large open map areas, but does have load screens between expansion maps. So that's where you're losing the open world portion for me and Where Winds Meet. But WoW is considered open world, so I would consider Where Winds Meet open world too, because of that. You'll move around by flying with stamina once you unlock a skill, teleporting, running on water, swimming, diving, mounts, and running. Essentially, you'll be traversing both worlds the same way. So if you want more true open world game, Where Winds Meet is it, but if you really don't care, Sword of Justice is equally as expansive in terms of areas you can explore. It's just not open. As I mentioned, Sword of Justice is an MMORPG. This game, right out the gate, once you get beyond the tutorial, plops you into a world full of people. Something this game does differently to traditional MMOs is that some of the players are online while some are not. What is interesting about Sword of Justice is they utilize a tactic Age of Wushu had back in the day. To make the world feel more alive, they'll have your character wander the world when you're offline. I ran into a few zombie players going about various activities such as riding a horse or walking the streets. It is noted though, due to the instance areas of the map, there is a cap on how many players you'll see in a given area, just like Final Fantasy XIV. Social activities include PvP, multiplayer, and 3v3s. I have heard that there are more PvP options, but I only have the beta to go off of here. I'm so sorry. Map areas with open world PvP, dungeons, 12-person raids, world bosses, guild wars of 60 vs 60, and co-op minigames. You can do dungeons, raids, and world bosses all with AI NPCs as well, if you despise humans. Granted, that's a little weird to put into an MMO, aka a game meant to play with others, but I digress. It's the future. A lot of games are doing that, including, you know, Final Fantasy XIV and WoW, so the future's here now. You will receive less rewards if you do social activities with the AI. The story and side stories appear to be done completely single player. You receive rewards for doing social events, so make sure you're going out there and playing with others. Where Winds Meet is an ARPG with multiplayer functionality. So I don't think we really have a definition for what this type of game is yet, so I'm just gonna call it an ARPG with MMO elements. That's just what I'm gonna call it. So ARPG ME, yeah, multiplayer elements. There we go. ARPG ME. Let's go. Let's make that a word now. I'm calling it. This is a bit more complex to explain, so hang tight. You'll begin the game with various difficulty choices as a solo player. If you choose to play the game in solo mode, you can also adjust your difficulty to story, normal, and desperate, which has 2 modes for the final difficulty where when you die, well, that's it, you restart. It gets pretty intense. I'm not gonna do that, but if you want to, you can go for that. I suck at action combat, so. The world difficulty is set to single player mode only, as once you join multiplayer, it'll have you roaming the world with other players at a set difficulty. Not that there is anything to fight in the MMO world, because when you move to MMO world, it's like a social hub, so think like you have the whole world still, like the whole open map for the MMO portion of it, So I don't want to say it's like Soul Worker, but it's like a social hub where you do things with other people, just not fight things. The game certainly has MMO elements, as there's a world chat and the ability to play with others, and an MMO world that you'll join. You can also play with up to 4 other friends in your world. Just like Sword of Justice, there is a limit to how many people you'll see in the open MMO world portion that's used more as a social hub than anything, as there's no mobs to kill you, but you can gather resources and do various social activities there. As for social activities, there are multiplayer dungeons, 10-player raids, and even 1v1 PvP, 2v2, 3v3, Battle Royale PvP, guild, and 30v30 guild PvP in the game. World bosses that can be done solo or co-op, and co-op mini-games. There is no open world PvP per se like Sword of Justice. However, you can have a bounty placed on your head if you do too many bad things, and other players can come into your world and kill you to collect the bounty. Other players can also pay real money to place a bounty on you, but if nobody knows who you are, you'll be fine. It's mainly streamers and joking friends that'll have to worry about this. NPCs can also falsely accuse you and you'll have a bounty placed on your head. You can technically play most of the game solo, but you'd miss out on in-game raids and dungeons. In the solo world, you'll find little notes about the world, just like in Elden Ring, and helpful tips, requests for help on bosses, and just little encouraging words. The game also highly encourages socializing, as you'll get rewards for going into player worlds and assisting them playing together and being friends. Dungeons and world bosses can be done with the assistance of AI NPCs if you want to continue your solo life. The main story quest is done solo, just like Sword of Justice. However, side quests and various other world quests can be done co-op with your 4 other friends. Just make sure that you have it's in the settings somewhere. I didn't get footage of it, but you have to tick it on so that you and your friends that you are in the world of progress together through these. Otherwise, you'll have to go back to your world and do the quest. So make sure you go into settings and look through things very carefully and turn that on. However, side quests and various other world quests can be done co-op. Honestly, as you can tell, there's not that much different in terms of social activities in each of these games. So it mainly falls to, do you want to see a bunch of people running around your world and having those silly moments of staring at an NPC sliding across the ground together? That way you can have that special moment where your characters slowly shift towards one another and, you know, you just look at each other and you're like, yep, I saw that too. But does it really matter? Because you and I both know you're gonna play these games alone anyway. You're just gonna ignore all the people running around you. I'm looking at you. Yes, you. Stop turning around. Like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. And if things start to get super social, you can get married in either game. These games weave romance, camaraderie, and mentorship into their core, turning social bonds into a dazzling adventure of their own. Starting with Sword of Justice, you can simply form a fateful bond. Opposite gender couples can unlock love bond, while same gender can unlock true bond. As far as I can tell, the rewards are the same. This game takes finding relationships to a whole different level, as you can essentially write an about you letter and fill out a short personality quiz to begin your matchmaking process. You'll be given various cards you can like or dislike to begin the match. Then you just simply wait for somebody to hit you up after you like their profile. Then after your match, you'll need to spend some ample time together playing the game because you can tie the knot. To me, that was kind of crazy, but a welcomed addition. For those who prefer a more unconventional approach, Sword of Justice lets you enlist AI NPCs as your personal wingman. These chatty companions will scout the open world, seeking out nearby players of the opposite gender to introduce you to. Fair warning, my attempt at this ended with my potential match eloping with NPC instead. Classic 2025 dating chaos. If you're like me, already happily hitched IRL, but craving those sweet in-game rewards, hit me up in Sword of Justice, both launch, for a no-drama marriage pact. I'll be there. Just, you know, play with me a little bit and let's never talk. That's like the perfect in-game marriage to me. Let's do this. Let's grab those bonuses and call it a day. There are also kinships, which are groups of 3 to 12 players. These unlock various rewards as well. Essentially, just making a small group of friendos. And finally, there are mentors you can bond with to learn how to do certain things for rewards as well. In Where Winds Meet, you can get married, but is a little less dating sim. You simply build up your relationship with somebody of any gender and you can marry them. You can even have up to 6 marriages if you join the right sect, which we'll discuss here shortly. There's also friendships, master and disciple, where a master can have up to 5 disciples, and finally sworn brotherhood, which is where you can have up to 10 friends in a group. Each bond, romantic, platonic, or mentor-led, unlocks unique titles, dazzling cosmetics, and dynamic actions, bringing you closer to living out your wuxia dreams of love, loyalty, and epic alliances in either game. As I mentioned, each game features unique, distinct sects. Within both games, you'll need to follow clues and quests to unlock most of the sects, and each of these sects will increase your martial arts in some way. In Sword of Justice, there are various martial arts skills you will learn as you progress in the sect, but in Where Winds Meet, you'll earn various cosmetics and rewards with a weapon type to unlock. These weapon types in Where Winds Meet can be simply unlocked by doing skill theft quests, and you can just remain sectless. There are a total of 5 sects that I can see in Sword of Justice per the beta, but more are coming. And there are 8 within Where Winds Meet. Once again, both games have rules that you must follow to be in these sects or risk being kicked by the game from it. Some will require you have more friends, do PvP, beg a certain amount of times, prank other players, etc, etc. There's just so much to these games. In Sword of Justice though, you should choose your sect wisely, as some skills don't benefit some classes. It would be wise to find out which sect is best for your class. Where Winds Meet is essentially about unlocking a weapon if you don't want to skill theft and generally want to join in and have some merriment with rewards. Now you've tied the knot, forged epic friendships, and pledged your sword to a sect in Sword of Justice or Where Winds Meet, it's time to kick back in your very own slice of digital paradise. Forget just housing, these games let you craft a personal utopia. Sword of Justice has instanced housing where you'll be able to become a creature of comfort within your own domain. To me, this is the better housing system. Let me tell you why. What I loved about this is it felt like The Sims building to some degree, and the effect you can freely build and terraform the area where your home will go. There's blueprints of homes you can buy with in-game currency that you can place down and work on building, or you can create your own. And each instance is a trading center, farm, and livestock area as well, which is a cute little addition. You'll need to work on these areas because you'll need to sell what you produce to have resources to build. In Where Winds Meet though, you'll be able to plop your house down wherever you want pretty much in the open world. Just place it down and you can have a farm. You can't change the ground it's placed on, but you can build freely, as I saw someone on Reddit who legit built Hogwarts in the game. I mean, that was pretty darn cool. There are also blueprints for various houses that you can build upon, and all the building materials come from the open world, such as trees and stones, so make sure you begin the gathering process early on. And while you're cutting down trees and picking up stones, you're not going to have to pick which game you're limited to for this, as both games allow for life skills. Sword of Justice refers to this as identity, as you can unlock any of them, such as fishing, cooking, playing instruments, dancing, gathering, or mining, for instance. These life skills help you unlock a job such as a doctor, where you'll heal ailments, or even a beggar, to just name a couple. You can physically do the life skills, or you can do what's known as part-time jobs, and it'll raise your understanding of life skills over time without any effort from you, but it does cost stamina. There will also be various quests for identities that you can overcome to level them, such as dancing, which admittedly was really hard to do on PC. Where Winds Meet is where you'll go out into the world and fish, cook, play instruments, dance, practice law, and so much more. Where Winds Meet also has doctors, like Sword of Justice, where you'll be able to practice medicine to fix various ailments and boo-boos of other players or NPCs that may require it. You can also become a scholar in Where Winds Meet, where you can put your brain to use. For instance, you can argue for another player that they don't deserve the bounty that they have on their head. Both these games have very deep and large varieties of things that you can do in terms of life skills, and I'm just scratching the surface here. Interesting little tidbit, both games allow for traditional fishing with a pole, but also fishing with martial arts. That is so cool. As I had mentioned, doing the dance in Sword of Justice was hard for PC. So let's talk about the elephant standing awkwardly in the corner, staring at us. Yes, Sword of Justice game is indeed more tending to mobile users, as you can tell simply from the UI. I'd even venture to say the minigame for dancing wasn't doable on PC for me, especially on a widescreen trying to desperately click all the circles in time. There's a few more tasks that would work better on mobile than PC, but for the majority of the game, playing on PC, especially when raiding, is much better. The UI can be edited, and I did a few changes and attempted to make the UI smaller and less invasive, but no matter what, the UI, as you can tell, is still very mobile-esque. And that's fine. I've heard complaints about where winds meet UI and menus that look mobile to them, but the gameplay itself is not made for mobile. It is made with PC and now console in mind, especially if you're going to be attempting perfect dodges, parries, and blocks. But the bottom line is that both of these games do have mobile platform. However, only one was made as a mobile game with PC crossplay, while the other was made for PC first with crossplay on console and mobile very soon. Where Winds Meet obviously has controller support, as they have consoles in mind too, where Sword of Justice does not have controller support. That made my friend really sad, because we're gonna play together, but she mainly uses controller. But that's fine, we're still gonna play. I think I can summarize the difference in controls with just 2 scenes where you're wielding a bow while riding a horse in either game. Both are beautiful games graphically and have art styles to be appreciated for the beauty that it does provide. But if you're truly looking for a game that is not mobile, Where Winds Meet is it. If you're fine with something that is very clearly made for mobile, Sword of Justice is fine. If you don't mind either, I mean, play both. They're great. I think they're both great. Another beautiful thing in both games are the stories. Sword of Justice has a bit more yakking in it, but if you pay attention, it has a very moving and interesting story. But I suspect most people will miss out on it because I know a lot of you are skippers when it comes to yappy. What's so interesting about the story is it's kind of a pick your own direction with your choices. You'll be presented with various options when moving through the story that'll affect NPC lives, your outcomes, and relationships. Even the side quests were impactful, with some beautiful stories giving life to the NPCs you see around the world with various art styles, gripping me into sometimes quite sad stories or sometimes just plainly silly. I love both. Where Winds Meet is more like you're being guided through a short series with minimal yapping. This doesn't make the cutscenes any less impactful, as they still build up the characters to have meaning, and they have no qualms breaking your heart. This is probably the last game I cried in since Expedition 33. The side quests are also vibrant with area lore and mystical beings. But long story short, if you don't care about the story, you can skip it. But I'm telling you, both stories, very, very good. I enjoy it. And finally, for the part you were all actually looking to hear about, are the games pay to win? I'm just gonna state they're both very free to play friendly, and they're both free to play. So how are they gonna make money? Long story short, there are pay to win elements in both games, but I believe very firmly that they are both still extremely free to play friendly. So hang tight, let me explain. I'd say the pay to win features are very soft in Sword of Justice. Yes, there is a hero gacha which provides you skills, and these skills in particular can be upgraded to be more powerful the more you have of them. Can you get it as a free to play player? Yes, absolutely. Is it going to take a little longer to get the dupes? Yes, it is. Also, you can change paid currency into currency to purchase items in the auction house, such as gear, willpower, which makes you stronger, and items for crafting. This can also be bought with in-game currency. And I'm sorry, even if this is attained being free to play, it's still at a slower rate than someone who is paying. People are going to argue that this is pay to win, and I'm just going to say this is in the game. So I'm just going to say, if this is not pay to win to you, then it's not pay to win to you. If you think that's pay to win, then it's pay to win to you. All I can say is, for the people who are like, that's pay to win, I can assure you that is not horrible pay to win. You will do just fine as a free to play player. with a slight advantage as a paying player. However, PvP is very balanced in terms of gear, so you are not going to be able to get more than a squeak of an advantage with hero skills, as most will already have them too in PvP. There are also upgrade materials in the paid portion of the battle pass, but again, it's not that hard for a free-to-play player to get those materials too, and they're not even the most difficult materials that you need to get for upgrading, so moot point. The battle pass also contains extra vigor, aka stamina, which can be used to purchase lucky slips that allow you to receive extra rewards from running dungeons if you convert them over into the lucky slip. It is there, and the vigor you get is extremely limited. Where Winds Meet does not escape this either. Where Winds Meet has a battle pass, and there's one thing in it for the paid portion that tends towards pay to win feature, and that's energy. Not a lot, but a little, and that energy can be used to run things for gear and materials because there is a stamina limit on how many times you can run dungeons, raids, and world bosses, just like Sword of Justice. You cannot pay for stamina in the general shop, just like Sword of Justice. It just gives you 4 in the battle pass, and that's just a drop of water in the lake. In Where Winds Meet, you can also use pearls, which is a purchasable currency used for the gacha and cosmetics. It can also be used to sell for Baochan. Baochan currency is a tough to grind currency that can allow free-to-play players to buy pearls for cosmetics without spending money. This is a paying player scratching the back of free-to-play players and vice versa. However, Baochan can be exchanged for regional currencies that allow you to upgrade your gear, weapons, and martial arts. It is easy to obtain these regional currencies just by playing the game, but an edge is an edge and therefore does fall in the pay-to-win element. This would mean that someone can simply come in and upgrade their gear and martial arts much easier. But this doesn't mean they'll have good gear to upgrade or martial arts to upgrade unless they play the game, which they'll get the regional currency to upgrade with anyway. All in all, I'd say both games have a slight pay for advantage, but at their root, they are still both highly free-to-play friendly with no major advantages. Besides the hero gacha and Sword of Justice, there's all cosmetic, and the same for Where Winds Meet. It is highly cosmetic-based gacha, cosmetic-based purchases. That's where they're going to make most of their money. The outfits, skill effects, and majority amounts do not give you an advantage. I only say the majority because I recall in Where Winds Meet a mount that did allow me to hit one button to gather materials in its surrounding area as opposed to hopping off and gathering it myself. So it'll save you a few minutes. These materials are used for like building your house, furniture, cooking, and medications. All these things are subject to change though and could become better or worse before launch, because the proof is in the pudding and doesn't happen until it releases, because everything I say here about this could absolutely 110% change before it release, but I'm just letting you guys know what I saw when playing the beta, just so we're all aware. But either which way, both games extremely heavy in cosmetics, and that is where the game is truly putting all of its coins into, trying to get you to purchase these beautiful things to look beautiful and show off sparklies. So that's where it's at. Another feature that I feel like everyone is also looking at is raids. How do they feel at endgame? As someone that absolutely adores raiding, I am the person that is looking at this because this is my endgame. I am a person that in Final Fantasy XIV did Ultimate raids, Savage raids. I also did WoW Mythic raiding. I did WoW Mythic Dungeons. So I get very excited when these are actually difficult to do. Like in Sword of Justice, the boss fights have quite a few mechanics in the raids. The raids work closely to Final Fantasy XIV Alliance raids, where you'll just have very sparse adds, some easy, some a little bit more complex, between 3 major bosses. The difficulty I place upon the raids that I did participate in, as I did step a toe into the final available raid boss for the beta, is close to early Savage tier raids in Final Fantasy XIV. To give you a taste of the complexity, someone needed to hold a shield at a specific time to protect the raid team. Then another person had a spear that they needed to use at specific times to kill a snake ad that spawned at a specific health point. And if you didn't kill them quickly, they'd kill the team through excessive damage. A third person would have the Divine Eye, an item that could be used to throw at 3 people that are currently poisoned to find out who the real person is that's poisoned so that they could be cleansed, or else everyone would die. This throw ended up missing the 3 people quite often as they needed to be close, and you don't get a second chance to throw it, and that means death. Then the final person, which is the job I took during it, needed to use an orb to give the true poison person the antidote in time. Then at 50%, the boss would turn 3 random people into wolf, and these wolves would need to use a skill before the skill reached max gauge and spread it out enough to not cause too much damage to the raid team. So yeah, all these mechanics, if not done correctly, would kill the team. That's 4 different instances from 4 different people where if you fuck up, that's bad. So all in all, these fights were delightfully complex, with nearly everyone in the team having used some sort of brain cell at one point in time. Honestly, this was the most fun I had in the game, as I love raiding. However, it is noted you can do these raids with NPCs instead of real players for reduced rewards and easier mechanics. I went back and did the most difficult raid I was doing with real players and did it with NPCs, and admittedly we ignore the mechanics like needing the shield or any other thing, and it was just easy as pie and I killed it and it was fine and easy. So you can still do all this and you don't need to make it hard for yourself. Where Winds Meet also had a few mechanics in the raids. However, I personally didn't participate in any Where Winds Meet raids, as I don't think it was even available in the betas that I played. If it was, I couldn't find it, or I didn't level high enough. But however, I have a wonderful YouTuber and Twitch friend, Rexcellent, feel free to check him out, who does play quite obsessively on the Chinese Where Winds Meet servers, and he has shown me the raid. The raid itself requires the team to work together to move meteors that, if they are too close, will explode and wipe the team, and more. Raids seem to work like Final Fantasy XIV Savage raids, where you're dropped into fighting one boss with many complex mechanics the team must address. The content I did participate in is the 5-player dungeons. These also remind me of Final Fantasy XIV Savage raids with reduced players. You're once more plopped into fighting one boss with multiple mechanics. For example, the dungeon I did required you to burn down 2 ads or they'd explode and potentially wipe the team. You'd also be sucked into the middle and need to avoid AoEs caused by the boss's charging horses. And the mechanic that wiped our team quite often was needing to steal the horses of his soldiers to go and attack his soldiers and have the gauge reach 100% or face an in-rage one-shot burst. And if these fights aren't challenging enough for you, or you hate people and you just want to forego doing this entire thing in the game, you can go off and do trials and face off against bosses with increased difficulties for yourself, but not the same rewards. All in all, both games provide a rewarding multiplayer raid and dungeon experience should you choose to participate in them, each offering their own unique difficulties and combat styles to keep you on your toes. One thing I will note, so you are not surprised, there is actually a mic feature in both games, in Sword of Justice and Where Winds Meet, because Rexcellent was playing the raid that I was watching when he was streaming, and somebody was just blasting music during the raid.
Block the airline. Gotta parry his face. Oh my god, I hear it, somebody's playing music.
I would assume over in the West, that's not gonna be music. We're probably gonna be a little bit more dumb about it. Also, there is open mic in Sword of Justice. As you can hear, like, I could hear my team members, like, they could just start talking.
Can't see you guys. What?
Whenever they wanted to. So I'm just giving you that heads up. But it's really nice because you don't need to go to Discord to talk to people. You could just turn on your mic and talk to people and do your raid. I love it. Beyond that, both games just have an infinite number of things to do, and certain systems I feel make them stand out. Both games have a good and evil system, meaning if you behave like a criminal, you'll get the criminal treatment. Both games can and will send you to naughty jail if you misbehave, where you'll end up doing menial tasks to work your way out of it. Or, well, friends can come break you out of jail. Where Winds Meet has a type of GTA system in it where you can steal from NPCs, steal horses, put fake red packets in the world chat to steal money from other players, and even kill NPCs. Also, Also, if there's no witnesses to your crime left alive, then who's gonna tell? Nobody. Hide that body. The amount of discovery in both of these games just gives you an infinite amount of things to do. Puzzles, hidden areas, side quests, chests to find in the open world, and so much more. I am telling you, this video is not doing justice to the amount of things that you can do and play in either game. Like, you are gonna have hundreds of hours of story and exploration in either game. And I know this video was on the longer side, but trust me, I barely scraped the surface for both of these games. Both of these games are enjoyable in their own right, and I will be attempting to play both. Graphically, both games are beautiful, but one is obviously a bit more updated looking than the other. Both games have obviously gorgeous fashion to enjoy, and you can get tons of it from just playing the game, buying it, or winning it in the gacha outfits. So if I had to say which game you should pick, I'm going to say both. Both are free to play. Try them out, see which one you like, or maybe you'll like both. The only thing you're gonna lose is time. Either way, Wuxia players are going to be eating well in November, and I hope you all find your dream game that'll take you on a magical sword flying journey, and feel free to add me in either game and catch me streaming both of these games starting November 7th for Sword of Justice and the 14th for Where Winds Meet, if I can get off work. Fingers crossed. Anyway, this is MRSSSTIX signing off for now. Bye!